Hi guys, Craig Zuckerman here with Lori Clark. Everyone wants to have a six-pack, and you're doing crunches and all kinds of ab work to get it. The thing is, if you don't do your ab work properly, you can end up with a six-pack beer belly, or worse, a back herniation, severe back pain, and even sciatica. So what we want to do in this video is we're going to show you what to do, what to pay attention to, and what not to do when doing your ab work so you can have that flat stomach you're looking for without any back pain. All right, first we're going to start out with the crunch, a basic crunch that everyone loves to do when in the gym. Now, when most of us are doing, or the way we learn when we were in school, is to crunch all the way up, pulling your head, chin to chest, pulling through, getting that deep ab work, and then relaxing all the way back down, blah. And then coming back up, and back down. Go ahead, do it. Do it like you did it when you were in high school. Yeah, oh. Yeah, this is the way you were taught to do it. Okay, relax there. All right. So what's wrong with that? You know, this is how we do abs, right? Okay, here's mechanically some of the problems we have with this exercise. Your six-pack is right here. And what it can do is it can roll you up and it can bend you like that. But there's another muscle, a psoas muscle, that comes and attaches in the front of the hip and pulls through into your low back. And you start to use that muscle at a certain point, you're pulling just into your hip flexor. And that hip flexor can cause a lot of lower back pain. Because, yeah, it creates that big arch in your lower back and can seize up. A lot of times when people are having lower back pain, it's because of this psoas muscle is being overworked and overconditioned when they're working abs. Another problem, when you go into this deep ab thing like that, most of the time, we're not needing to use our abs when in this position, unless you're doing this exercise. When we need our abs is when we're walking around. You can relax. I know that's... All right. When we need this is when we are, walking around, when we're picking up our kids, when we're picking up a suitcase, when we're doing things, and that's usually when your back pops out. And it's because if you're always conditioning yourself to be in this deep, rounded position in order to engage these abs, then that's when they know how to work. They don't always know how to work when we're standing up in a normal position or just bending over and grabbing something. So it's a good thing to learn how to use your abs this way. Here's the next thing. When you're doing this ab work, the very first thing you need to do is pull your belly button in. Now, when I say pull belly button in, or you hear a lot, in Pilates especially, belly button to spine, it means this, not flattening your back. Show that. So I don't mean this. So now she's tucked back, compressing the low spine. Now, yes, this can stabilize the little low back a little bit, but she keeps doing this every time, rounding and then flattening and rounding. So now do that with your ab work. Show what that would be like when people go, yeah, and she flattens and comes back, flattens and comes back. Now, she's creating a pivot point in her lower back. She is pivoting back and forth on that spine, on those discs, and especially in a backwards position, that's where your discs tend to bulge or come out the back. When that happens, you get disc bulges. People say, I slipped my disc, I threw my back out, I slipped a disc. Well, that's what we're talking about, a bulging disc that kind of squeezes out the back. And if you keep doing that, you're going to destabilize the spine and create a lot of back pain and problems if you're working that way. Okay, so what do you do to make that the right way? Here's what you do to make it the right way. Engage those abs before you even start out. And when you come up into that ab work, keep your neutral spine. Keep your natural curvature in your lower back. And you go back and you go up. And that is then keeping this natural curve in that low back as she moves through this position, back and forward and back and forward. And watch this. The other thing she's doing, notice she doesn't go all the way down to the ground. She stays up. So these abs stay engaged the entire time. This is a really important factor. When we go all the way back and relax down old school way, and then tighten, and then we relax, and then we tighten, we let go of those abs. Now, these abs are stabilizing muscles, especially the transverse muscle, which is underneath. The transverse muscle goes around like a girdle or like a weight belt, and that's what she's using to tighten all this down and really connect into the abdominal wall and pull the six-pack down. If she pushes out with it, if she pushes out every time, then she's puffing it out. Go ahead. Then she'll develop that six-pack pushing out because that transverse muscle that's underneath her six-pack is pushing out and pushing the abs out. You don't want to learn that. You want a flat stomach with that six-pack, not a big belly. So learning to pull in. And what I like to do is I have people, when I say the perfect crunch, you start with your head is off the ground, shoulders a little bit off the ground, stomach's in. Take a second. Inhale. And before you even start the movement, exhale and tighten, and then lift into it Inhale, go back, keeping the tension. Exhale. Now, this is going to be a little harder to breathe when you do it this way, but what it does is it keeps the abs I could bounce a steel ball off her stomach right now, and it would be great, and she has this connection. She's teaching that abdominal muscle how to stay connected at all times. She's teaching it with that exhale, so when she learns to go pick something up, it automatically connects, automatically pulls in and protects her body, protects her spine when she starts to lift something, and it's training it that way. Another really important thing she is not doing is burying her chin. I always see people doing this when they're doing crunches, and I see it a lot. In fact, in some old school Pilates techniques, they were saying chin to chest, chin to chest. The problem with this is we already look down at our phones all day long, our computers all day long, and if you constantly keep that position and you're torquing it by pulling on your head, then all you're doing is continuing to stress the neck muscle, stress the spine, the cervical spine, and now you can end up with herniations, bulging discs, and that kind of stuff in your neck and a lot of neck pain. In this position, it is in its natural form, its natural curve more, and then you don't strain that neck while being able to do your ab exercises. And when you use all this together, you keep that space, the neutral spine. You connect with the abs before you even start, and you pull down and in as you do the ab work. You don't stress the neck out, and you keep constant ab work so you're not resting in between. Now you're working that six-pack in the ultimate way, the way that will protect you from pain and injury, and the way that will keep this in flat six-pack. Now, it's not to say you can't do some of those other ones, but just know this form, using it this way, is an optimal way to work it. And if you're always doing the other kinds where you're coming all the way up, I mean, that's great, because this isn't a full range of motion as far as hip flexion. So going into those other ones, yeah, like that, can be useful, but just know it rounds the low back out and puts a lot of strain in your low back when doing that. So you're getting this ab work in, but you may be straining your low back and you may be popping out your stomach. Which brings me to my next very important thing when doing ab work. If you do ab work, if you're doing crunches, you have to do back work too. In fact, there's been several studies that came out and several spine surgeons and spine doctors and the Spine Institute that talked about, hey guys, trainers, stop telling people to do 200 sit-ups and then that's all they need to do for great abs. Because if you over-strengthen this, especially if you're doing those other kinds that we were showing you, the bad kinds in the beginning, you are destabilizing the back and you are going to have more back injuries than if you never did any ab work at all. Yes, you heard me right. Scientifically shown, if you can do 100, 200, 300 crunches, but you don't do back work, you don't do back extensions with it, you're going to have some back pain. So like a simple exercise we have, and I'm not, because this isn't the mainstay of this exercise, but doing like using a fitness ball and doing back extensions or a simple exercise like this called the ski jump afterwards. So extension means we're lifting the back. We're using these back muscles to lift up and work to engage these low back muscles, which is basically the opposite of what we just did, what I call counter muscle balancing. If you do an exercise like this afterwards or laying on the ball, extension, something that exercises low back after you do all your ab work, then you're going to be going a long way to stabilizing your spine more properly and helping your back out. Because a lot of people think, oh, crunches is that's what you need to help your back out. You need to do more ab work. Well, if you're not doing the back work too, you're doing your body a disservice. Thank you, Lori. That's excellent. Now, another good thing to hit or people do when working their abdominal muscles is scissors, leg work. So we're going to show scissors and what not to do when doing scissor work. So if she has her head down or up, if it's up, it just makes a little more engagement. But again, if she's going to have her head up, I don't want the chin buried into the spine. I want a neutral neck position. And even if she has her arms down by the side, like a traditional Pilates, like for the hundreds and the head's up, that's fine, but keep them more neutral. And she can have a little tilt there. I'd rather have your hands behind your head and working. Hey, guys, guess what? We still need neck strength too in the front. So it's not a bad thing, but I like this neutral spine. So here's the key with this. The idea is when she's going down, she is actually using her abdominal muscles to stabilize her spine, to stabilize her hips. So the bad thing would be when she does this, that the back arches and it comes up. And so it's arching and it's rounding and it's arching and it's rounding. And see that release here? She's not using this upper abdominal. It's hard, isn't it? You can't do it wrong. You can't do, so that's the thing. She doesn't want to release here, get this deep curve. That's not good. She needs to keep constant. This is where that constant ab work comes in, that you really need to keep this connection the entire time. Because if it doesn't learn to hold that stability, and the hard part comes in that it's the breathing. Because when you go to breathe and you're doing this, that's where it's a little challenging because you diaphragmatically breathe and you release this. So learning how to brace, they call it, how to brace these abs and keep them constantly working, more breathing through the back, through your back and through your ribs instead of releasing this ab, is one of the things that's challenging at first, but you learn to do. In fact, we have an exercise called the tummy tuck. I don't know if we've done a video. We may have to do a video on that teaches you how to do that and make that work. But back to the legs. Using in your mind the idea that this is what's working, not just these hips. Because again, that psoas muscle comes back into play in this, because that psoas muscle fixated in the low back can create this hip flexion. So you got to really use the abdominal muscles when doing that and stabilize. That's good. You've done 1.5 million of them, guys. So with this, it's all about stability in the pelvis. Any ab work, any stuff you're doing, you got to watch out that this pelvis is rocking back and forth. It's doing that on the disc, and it's just going to really destabilize that and create some pain in there. And those are our tips for doing proper ab work, preventing pain and injuries, especially to your low back, while getting that six-pack. I'm Craig Zuckerman with Lori Clark. We are Z-Line Fitness, helping you feel better, look better, and perform better. Hey guys, if you like this video and want to see more like it, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, click that bell. Then you'll get notifications the next time we put out a video. If you like us, click on the like button. You can also leave us questions and comments below. We love it. And see you next time.